You know, initially I really wasn't going to cover this when Old Man Grim tagged me on Twitter when he sent this out over the weekend. I was like, oh man, that is a ridiculous Frosk Meltdown-esque type moment from Alyssa Mercante. But you know what? I'm not going to cover it because, like she's been saying, I've been covering her so much that it could be deemed as harassment, as she always says. But the more I think about the situation, the more I'm like, no, that's exactly what she wants to do, is silence me from covering what's actually integral to the entire video game industry. This kind of stuff sets a new course of direction for it that if you don't speak out against, it continues to go down this circular path down the drain, and there's nothing stopping it as it picks up speed. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT, and Alyssa Mercante once again is in the news for her rant at Summer Game Fest hosted by Jeff Keighley, but this was like an after party for Giant Bomb and her good buddy Jeff Grubb, who I also have on Kotaku Detected for defending her racism. And clearly, like I said, these people are all the same. They're all buddies behind the scenes. They all have DMs and conversations going on how they're going to gatekeep people out of the industry. And this is just yet another example of that. But what proceeded to follow in this rant that got shared to me, I could have never imagined. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for the full breakdown of Alyssa Mercante's Meltdown at Summer Game Fest 2024. This meltdown is of epic proportions, and I'm not just saying these words to sound hyperbolic. Like, this is legitimately exposing her and her mental illness, which she clearly has, in my humble opinion, to the rest of the world, for everyone to see clear as day that people who have been reporting on this situation aren't the crazy ones. We're the ones that were trying to warn everyone about her.
And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically. Bitch.
I covered Summer Game Fest in a previous video talking about the games that were coming down the pipe, and honestly how most of them had way too much CGI for me to get any whatsoever close to excited about. But ultimately it was like, cool, there are games coming out. I'm a gamer. I'm excited. This is good stuff. Summer Game Fest is supposed to be a celebration of gaming. I guess you could say Jeff Keighley is trying to make his own E3 type of thing, or at least harken back to the ghost of E3 back in the day. Except for Summer Game Fest kind of felt more like a 2.5 hour long advertisement with ridiculous ad rates that he was charging these AAA game companies to pay him to be shown on stage, whereas E3 was more of the direct from the publishers with interaction and games and fun stuff to do to interact with at the event. This was more of a, hey, come sit down and watch 2.5 hours of advertisements. But either way, hey, if it's moving the industry forward in a good light, I'm here for it. And then I saw this after party clip and I'm just like, uh-oh.
Well, I didn't want to make it all about that because they're all sitting there with their fucking dicks at half chub ready to fucking go. They're talking about me. They're talking about me.
We're all gonna we're all gonna wake up tomorrow and there's gonna be like 20.
Is like, honey, please come to bed. They're like, not now.
There's gonna be like
someone's tangentially mentioned me, sorta, kind of.
I'm not really sure why some people are like this. And I said this to a few of my buddies. I think I've even said this on videos too. Like, trying to dive into the mindset of a crazy person and trying to make it sound logical will only make you sound crazy as well. So it's better to just steer clear of trying to make logical sense out of what she says in this unhinged tirade.
I am smart, hot, slutty, good at my job, and I don't shut the fuck up.
Yep.
And they're like, I want to fucking jerk off to her, but I also want to kill her. Yep. Like, they literally don't know what to do.
It is just hating women. It's just
truly just hating women.
Just 100%.
Yeah.
Alyssa Mercante not only failed to resonate with the gaming community on the whole, but it also encapsulated everything wrong with the entire video game industry and its surrounding media today. And like I said, I'm not trying to sound ridiculous when I say this. Like, this is one of those moments that kind of exposes exactly what's wrong with the video game industry. When people are like, oh, you're just making videos to get grifting and get ad revenue and get those clicks and grow your channel. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, welcome to YouTube. But also, I care about the video game industry. And when people are going to say, oh, there's really nothing wrong with it, I'll say, here's Exhibit A. This is the problem with it, right here. Not only is someone talking down to you, but they're also backhandedly slapping you in the face and also extremely hypocritical.
You know what I want?
What you really, really want?
I want people in the industry to be a little bit louder about people being mean to other people. And maybe say it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe say we don't want you around if you're going to be...
Right after advocating to be kind to one another, she goes into being a complete hypocrite, taking a step back saying, we don't want you around if you're going to be a cunt. Like, I have no words. Like, again, like I said, it's really hard to dive into the mindset of someone who's crazy because it doesn't make logical sense. Everything she says in this tirade is completely bonkers, meltdown, someone who's on the edge of a complete mental breakdown. Along the lines of hearkening back to G4's Frosk, and even to the point of having a similar setup with the couches and the people sitting around and then having the camera focus on the person. It's just really strange.
You're letting your unconscious biases ruin my day and you're gatekeeping the gaming space. So maybe for 2022, we be a bit nicer, a bit more self-reflective, and we enjoy the fact that people are working hard to make free content for you. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Peace!
Mercante's tirade was riddled with contradictions. On one hand, she implored the audience to stop being mean to people, then immediately following, hurling insults and vitriol at the very people she was addressing. This kind of behavior is not only unprofessional, but also indicative of deeper issues rooted in the game industry media's larger landscape. A propensity for sensationalism over constructive dialogue. At the end of this rant, she goes into, I kid you not, asking people to fight her physically. Like, I don't understand why someone would try to do that, nor am I going to try to again. But at the same time, inviting people to fight you physically, that's one of those fuck around, find out moments. Like, you are going to get hurt.
You stupid motherfucker. And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically, bitch.
You are unhinged, and this is not safe for you. Do not do these kind of things. Do not challenge the internet to a fight. That is up there with the dumbest things you could ever do in your life. But then again, it would take someone with some intelligence to realize that. In a weird way, I almost feel bad, and I don't blame Alyssa. She's been enabled for years by people like Carolyn Petit, her superior at Kotaku, and other people along the way in stepping stones to getting where she was without any repercussions. Although, at the end of the day, you gotta admit, it still falls on her to be better than this, to be accountable for her actions. And that's kind of the problem, a much greater issue with society on the whole, is if there's no accountability, people start going down these roads of, I'm unstoppable. You can't say anything to stop me. I'm going to say and do whatever the hell I want. And ultimately, it leads to the point of, I'm right, you're wrong, and I'm going to tell you you're wrong. And if there's anything we've learned when it comes to business and selling products, telling your audience that they're stupid or wrong or dumb or inviting them for a fight is not the best business practice. The gaming industry has always been a melting pot of diverse voices and perspectives, naturally evolving to reflect the world's diversity. But Mercante's rant punctuated by statements like, the game industry is diverse naturally, not because anyone is making them diverse, because the world is diverse, you stupid mother effer. It felt more like an unhinged attack on gamers rather than a coherent argument. Her aggressive stance seemed more intent on pushing her agenda as an activist under the guise of being a journalist at Kotaku. It's kind of showing its true colors here. If she were one of those people that stands in traffic to stop it on a highway, people would be pretty pissed off at her. What she's doing right now with the video game industry is pretty much along the same exact lines. She's standing on traffic, stopping it, coming to a halt in the game industry to get her way, to push her agenda, instead of allowing the natural business to flow and great games to come. She's doing anything she can to stop it because she wants her agenda propagated, wants games and narratives formed around her ideologies, around her agendas, around her narratives, around what she wants the games to be. She does not represent me, and I take a venture to guess, going out on a limb here, she does not represent the average gamer out there. In fact, I'd argue she's quite the opposite of what the most gamers out there would want out of the media. Mercante's meltdown is emblematic of a larger issue within games media, the tendency to alienate the very audience they're supposed to engage with. By attacking gamers and pushing a fragmented and hostile narrative forward, she's not only discrediting herself, but also undermining the credibility of media outlets that she represents, like Kotaku, and honestly, taking a step back from all of it, games journalism in general is going through a pretty rough patch right now, and being exposed with sites like Kotaku detected on SmashJT.com is pissing them off because it's holding them accountable for their actions. It's showing the world what they've said, what they've done, why they have the ideals that they do, who they've gone after, and why they've done it, and they don't like that microscope pointed at them. The spotlight on them showing these things is the last thing they want to see. And then you see photos like this one that Alyssa posted on Twitter with Jeff Keighley embracing her at Summer Game Fest. And I'd like to think that this photo was taken before her unhinged rant. Maybe Jeff is going to regret taking this picture. Maybe he sees it and is like, uh-oh, I don't want to be anywhere near that person. If it's for good reasons, like he cares about the direction of the game industry and wants to move it forward, great. If it's for financial reasons and he sees her as someone who's sucking money out of his pocket, the same result is going to happen. She's not going to be invited back either way. And take this as a microcosm for the entire video game industry on the whole. They look, they see, they watch. This stuff happens. It's the exact same reason why Frosk is nowhere to be found anymore. The game industry upper echelon talks. They see these things and they subtly remove them to make sure it doesn't impact their bottom line at the end of the day. Because honestly, like I always say, it's always about follow the dollar. As long as they're making money, everything's good. But when that comes to a halt, they start making changes. And right here is one of those moments where I'd like to think it's pretty obvious for the entire game industry to look at the situation and be like, yeah, that person right there not only does not represent the gamers, but is starting to impact our financial results, sending the entire video game industry in a direction that nobody who plays games wants to go in. So ultimately, at the end of the day, this is a tragic expose on someone like Alyssa Mercante, yet again, as I've been saying for a while, screaming from the mountaintops that this is the type of person that does not belong in the video game industry. And I will gatekeep her the hell out of it every chance I get, no matter what people try to say about inclusivity and diversity and allowing everyone to just do their own thing because, yeah, everyone's happy. These are the type of people that come into your hobby and gatekeep you out of it. She's already showing it right now. These are the signs of it, and people are not taking well to it. So at the end of the day, I don't feel bad for her. She's going to end up on the streets just like Frosk. And honestly, it's right back where she started. The unfortunate thing is that the industry is starting to become surrounded by enablers, like-minded people, people that cannot think for themselves and protect each other because they all feel like they're one and the same. And I watched part of this clip from Jeff Grubb that is the most embarrassing simping I've seen for a girl since Tipster in Destiny FOMO. And that's saying something.
He's a shill for me. Did you know that? He simps for me. He simps for me. He's simping for me right now.
Wow. All right, yeah.
Yeah!
It really got, I mean, at this point, I'm like, when I deal with these people now, I do just ignore them, and they go away so fast.
They do, but then they don't. I mean, it depends on, like, if they've picked one person,
right, no, but they,
and it turns out it's usually a woman.
It's usually a woman, that's why, exactly. That's what's good. Like, they disappear, and I'm like, that is why, because they found a target that makes them money.
Yeah, I am their kryptonite.
Yes.
Like, they literally don't know what
to do.
it
is just hating women. It's just
truly just hating women.
Just 100%.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm talking about in regards to enabling her? Like I said, Yes, she needs to be accountable, but all these people in the room with her on that set, on stage, could have tried to maybe be a little bit like, hey, let's pull the reins back. This is really weird, getting kind of crazy, creepy territory. But unfortunately, none of them think like that. None of them have a rational thought. They want to encourage this kind of behavior. And it's not good for the entire video game industry on the whole. I'm going to leave it right there. If you guys want more information, check out smashjt.com for the full articles, screenshots, images, videos of everything I talked about in this video right here. Again, shout out to Old Man Grim for bringing this to my attention. Thank you guys so much for watching, your support, your awesome comments, and everything else. I feel like the industry, it's a big ship, but it's starting to slowly turn a corner here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
He's a shill for me. Did you know that? He simps for me. He simps for me. He's simping for me.